We've even got a Panda driving that car. Welcome to Lot 76 Cars. My name's Simon and welcome to part 2 of Ford Fest from Silverstone. Hope you enjoy the cars we're going to see and the owners we're going to have a chat to. So let's go and do that. Nestled among lots of Fiestas is this lovely old beauty. This one, it's even got the original dealer plates. Great to see this here today. Got that lovely interior. You don't get interiors like that anymore, do you? It's in superb nick, isn't it? Good to see the lower powered version of the Fiesta getting some attention and some representation today. That's fantastic, isn't it? Although Fiesta production ended just a couple of months ago, sadly, and a name that's been around since '77 has disappeared, at least temporarily, we've got great representation here today, haven't we? We've got the newer ST with the 3-cylinder 1.5 litre engine. That's an absolute flying machine. I don't know if that has the performance pack. Next to it we've got the Mark V, which appeared I think around about 2002 and brought a massive upgrade in interior trim, passenger and driver's airbags, and also I think it was the option of ABS, maybe even standard ABS, I can't remember. So great selection of Fiestas covering the generations here, and we'll try and pick out a few of the interesting ones. So we've got the original Mark 1, albeit a facelifted car, wide plated one. Got some lovely alloy wheels on that one. Next to it we've actually got the Mark 2. So both of these have the forward hinge bonnet, but they brought that bonnet down at the front in the Mark 2 cars. I had a Mark 2 in fact in certainly in the blue colour, not the two-tone like this particular one. So never actually officially called the ST150. It is in fact the Fiesta ST, the 150 coming from the brake horsepower, a massively more mature car compared with the XR2 that it replaced. I don't think the XR nomenclature was ever used again on a Fiesta after this stage. It then went down the ST line. Love the stripes on that one. I think the stripes were an option. I've seen some of the cars without the stripes anyway, but honestly I'm quite taken by these cars with the that stripe all the way over it. Yeah, that'll do for me, thank you. So please forgive me for including another Mark II Fiesta in here. This is a beauty, isn't it? Love those, what, XR2 wheels, I think? Yeah, XR2 wheels. It's on an E-plater, so it's got that facelift where they actually started to colour code those metal bumpers. I think it was an 84 B-plated car and they were still painted grey at that stage. The arrival of the Mark II Fiesta brought with it the second XR2 variant, not I at this stage. This one's pretty much untouched. It looks like it's an 88-89 car. It's got the pepper pot alloys, those red bumper inserts, correct body kit. It looks like it's got a factory fitted roof, so that's unusual. Lovely striped, that sort of candy striped interior. Not sure if the camera's picking that up very well, but yeah, it is nice to see these, to be honest with you. Many people wanted one like me back in the day, but the insurance was about £1,000 for me, and I think the car was only about 8 or 9. Never mind. Now the Mark IV Fiesta ran from 99 I think to 2002, replaced by the more boxy Mark V. This car picked up the facelift, so the facelift which came I think in 99 sort of brought it into line with Ford's new edge styling. So look at those lamp shape at the front. I know the internals of the lamp's been changed, but the actual shape of the lamp is significantly different. Okay, lightly customized as well. Looks great. Escort vans are a rare sight today, and they're even rarer. This particular one, somebody has put an RS turbo body kit on it. It's got those original gingicators, as I call them, orange indicators. Nothing wrong with those guys. The vents on the bonnet, but yeah, it's still a usable, practical very useful van. Now the Mark V Escort arrived after an investment of about £1 billion by Ford and was comprehensively slated by the motoring journalists over the chassis and over some aspects of the fit and finish. Really, it was a disappointment, but by the time that this car had been revised and improved, Ford were turning out a pretty competent car just pre-Focus. This is quite unusual in that it's a badged a GTI car, a GTI Escort rather, and quite honestly, these are pretty rare. They must be rare, and certainly this one's in stunning condition. Picks up those revised rear lamps, rear bumpers that came quite late in life, and quite a polished car. So this is the second generation Ford Focus. You can see it's got that significantly altered front end. In fact, I don't think there's any panels are shared between the cars. Significantly different. This one's the ST. Now the ST picked up the 5-cylinder engine from the Volvo because of the relationship where Ford owned Volvo for a period of time. They had access to this superb 5-cylinder, and some would say in actual fact that's one of the best engines in the ST. I don't know if that's true, but it's certainly a good one. Now, with enough lights on this one to light up Blackpool Pleasure Beach is this Bastos logoed Escort Cosworth lookalike, I think probably. It's an absolutely superb livery on that one. Really stands out, doesn't it? Let's just take a closer look. Honestly, you'd certainly draw attention. I don't know what's under the bonnet, if it really is Cosworth or not, but nevertheless it looks stunning in that livery, and who wouldn't want a rally liveried daily? Another Mark V, a late one, badge 16 valve, not actually badged on the car itself, but looking at the wood trim inside, it's a gear, so probably having things like air conditioning at this stage. Actually, it's in pretty good nick, and to be honest with you, again, Escorts are thin on the ground. In fact, Mark 1 Focus are becoming thin on the ground, aren't they? Because the old corrosion's got them, but good to see that one. So allegedly powered by Dodo Juice, the detailing brand. If you ever used it, their stuff's pretty good. I'm not sponsored, but please feel free to send me some. Fabulous livery on this car, as it's a Mark II Focus. The amount of effort that somebody's put into that, I take my hats off to them. I'm not sure whether the livery is off a touring car. I'm not sure what the Lego bit is there for. It'll look interesting. Yeah, that's quite some machine, isn't it? Hats off to whoever's prepared that and brought that here today. I know Fords back in the day suffered with rust, but this is ridiculous. I think this one in fact is a wrap. It's looks like it's on Instagram, Mark3_Rusty, and it's a fabulous RS with quite an interesting looking wrap on it. We'll try and go in for a close-up shot of that one. I'm not always a fan of wraps, but this one's been done really rather well. Look at that. Somebody's done a job and a half on that one, haven't they? Fabulous. Love it. Another Fiesta Mark IV, but this time it's the pre-facelift car. You remember I mentioned somewhere else in the video about the fact it's got the new edge styling look towards the end. This one has got the original look with those sort of oval type wheels on it. It's lovely in that red colour. It's got the Driven 247, another YouTuber, got the logo on there. I'm not sure if that's Amber's car, but possibly not. But somebody's done quite a job on that one, haven't they? That's lovely. Really nice. By the second generation Ford Mondeo, they'd actually opted to make some quite big changes in the styling, some significant changes to the front of the car with these wraparound headlamps. Possibly, I think, US influence, because the Mondeo was in fact a world car, sold pretty much unchanged across a number of continents, and also picked up these significantly changed rear lamps as well, if you can see them there. Now, whether this was a result of Ford's ownership of Aston Martin, we may never know, but look at the grille on the last generation Mondeo. When I say the last generation, that car is now gone. I had an estate version of these probably back in 2017, and it was a fabulous car. Quite honestly, the amount of room, the spec, the NVH in that car was really good. Make no apologies for including that here. That is a great car. So we'll take a walk past these performance blue STs. We've got almost every colour of ST known to man here, and some earlier cars as well. And let's go and see what else we can see towards the end of this row. In actual fact, designed and built for Ford by Pininfarina is this street car. Now, it's based on the sport car chassis. That's a very underrated car. I hope to see one of those as well. So with the more powerful engine, not so many of these left. I did film one of these a few months ago, I think at the London to Brighton run at Brooklands. Great to see them here. I know that Auto Alex had one on his channel maybe some time ago. They do have a bit of an issue with rot, so if you're buying one, look carefully underneath. Happily, that one has survived. It's in great condition. Surely that must be a future classic. There are so few of them around. So it's a good job this is not for sale. Yeah, it's a Ford Puma, the original coupe Puma. It's now used on an SUV, the same name. Only ran from 97 to around 2002. The initial advertising campaign was launched with a CGI image of Steve McQueen driving one and parking it next to his Bullet Mustang in the garage. Available initially as a 1.7, I think about 128 brake horsepower, followed up with a lower entry 1.4 without ABS, and eventually the Zetec S engine replaced the 1.4. Great to see these here today, and unlike many of these, this one is immaculate. You'll pretty much struggle to find any Ford badging on this car because in actual fact it's a Kuga. So built for the US primarily. It was a really interesting looking vehicle. Follows the new age styling theme that Ford had at the time. Available as a 2 litre and also with a very desirable 2.5 V6 engine. This one's in black, not too many about. Not worth huge amounts of money at the moment, but surely a very practical 4-seater coupe based on relatively inexpensive mechanicals. Now I'm including another street car because I've seen this one before, so shout out to the owner. I think she was at Brooklands with this car. I recognised the wheels on it, those beautiful gold wheels. Fantastic. It is her pride and joy, so if you're watching, shout out to you. Glad you made it to Ford Fair. Fabulous car. Yeah, unusual colour combo, definitely. So sporting the V6 engine is this Mondeo ST. This one is apparently an impulsive eBay purchase by the owner who spent 18 months to get it back to this condition. Apparently still more work to do. Difficult to believe what that is because it looks absolutely mint. But they've done a great job with it, put a lot of time and love into it by the look of it. That's fantastic, isn't it? So the Orion was launched originally to take the place of the booted Cortina when the hatchback only Sierra arrived. Don't forget the hatchback was on its own in the Sierra range until the Sapphire arrived much later. So the Orion took the place with that very useful boot at the back. I think I had an LX, I think mine was an 89 maybe on a G or something like that. That one's been very tastefully modified, and again, great looking car, isn't it? So this is an unusual car. Not only is it a facelifted Ford Sierra, in fact it's quite unusual in that it's a GLS 4x4. So we all know about the XR 4x4, but the 4x4 powertrain, I think in a 2 litre and maybe even a 2.9, was also available in the lower GLS trim. So it's really unusual to see one of these here today. XR 4x4s you do see from time to time, of course, but this one is a bit lower down the range. Great to see it. After the RS badge left the Escort range for a while. It returned in the shape of the RS 1600i, based on the XR3i, quite a bit more expensive, uprated power output, those very distinctive looking graphics on the car that separate that out. These are worth considerably more than the XR3 on which it's based. And this one, I'm desperately trying to think what that colour is, sunburst red or something like that, put that in the comments, but it's in lovely order, isn't it? So the Mark II Escort was much more influenced by the styling team from Ford of Europe rather than the Mark I with Ford of Britain. Code name was, believe it or not, Brenda. Apparently that's true, I don't think I made that one up. This is for sale for £32,500, but it is in fact a very lovely looking Mark II Mexico. What is not to like about that, guys? From its stripes forwards, it really is a Bobby Dazzler. With its droop snoot, the complete front end of that car, in fact even the bonnet is changed on this for probably for aerodynamic or looks reasons. It's an RS 2000. I'm not sure if this is a custom or a non-custom car. There's some detail differences. It has those all important fishnet Recaros that everybody goes on about, and those very comfortable seats. It's got a vinyl roof, which is unusual, especially seeing it's on a black car, but absolutely superb, isn't it? Very nice to see that. Launched in 1968, replacing the 105e Anglia with such magnificent innovations like rack and pinion steering and this fabulous dog bone looking grille. The Escort Mark I was originally slated to be called a Ford Anglia rather than the Escort. In actual fact, they relented and came up with a name that they felt would be much more European, and this is what came out. It was so controversial at the time, Ford took out full page advertisements, I think in 1968-69, to explain why they were killing the Anglia. You wouldn't get that today, would you? Although it got off to a bad start, this generation of Escort by sort of 92, 93 was a very, very polished car. The Focus was around the corner. This one is the RS 2000, also available with a four-wheel drive trim as well. Period motoring tests, period testing autocar, really rate this as a great car. Actually, these are quite worth quite a bit these days, and I'm sure particularly in this condition that will be a very attractive car for somebody to own. So the Mark IV Escort arrived with some particularly distinctive styling changes. They brought down the bonnet lower, those different moulded bumpers. This one's a 1.6L. What makes it unusual, it's a 1.6L automatic. May well have been a Motability car in the time, because that spec was an unusual combination of 3 doors, 1.6 engine and automatic transmission. I followed this one in, and I have to say it's in absolutely stunning condition. That's a cracker. Now this car's gone from wreck to an award winner. It's a beautiful powder blue K-plated Escort Mark I. I love those sibbies at the front. Sibbies, the dog bone grille, those little these days RS alloys, lovely bullet mirrors on the side, cage in the back of it if you want to head down the old rally stage or go racing with it. It's a stunner. Whoever's built that car, shout out to you, because it's a beauty. So these Mark IV Escorts are thin on the ground, a few more here today, but this is unusual in that it's an estate version that survives, and it's the 4-door estate. This sold significant numbers of the 3-door estate. I never understood why you would have a 3-door estate car, but both the Ford and Vauxhall did it back in the day, and this one's a survivor, isn't it? From what's that make it, 86 I believe? So if you couldn't quite afford an RS 1600 or subsequently to that the Mexico, then you might be able to get yourself into this 1300 Sport. So still relatively powerful, given the car was relatively lightweight. Got the dog bone grille on there as always. Love the green. I'm not sure if that's an original Ford colour, maybe. It's a beautiful car. Love that black panel, which I think the E's had that black panel as well. You know, black panel between the rear lights. Very nice. So built to commemorate Ford's involvement, and the Bullet Mustang been used in the Steve McQueen film, is this Bullet, officially sold by Ford in right-hand drive, makes it eminently usable in the UK. Passes everything except probably a petrol pump, I would imagine. But absolutely wonderful colour, isn't it? So believe it or not, all the way from Australia is this Ford FPV, built as due to a collaboration between Tickford in the UK and Ford Australia. They built this performance Ford. There's a few more details there on the windscreen, so I make no apologies for checking this one out. It's a Ford FPV GT FG355. I couldn't remember that even if I tried. 455 brake horsepower. Now, even in these tuned Focus Cosworth days, quite honestly, that's going some, isn't it? Stunning colour as well, isn't it? Escort RS Turbo a bit big for you, mate? Right, we'll try this one for size. A junior size, hand-built Escort Mark III RS Turbo, powered by batteries. Another lightly modified Ford Escort Mark IV van. There we go. Great paint finish somebody's managed to get on that one, I must admit. The amount of effort that's gone into some of these commercial vehicles as well is just to behold. The last of the line Mark V Cortina, the ones with a slightly higher survival rate, sold as a cabaret on run-out form. This is an early changeover vehicle, what, 1980, right-hand drive UK car, lovely sort of antique gold colour, doesn't even have head restraints. They were probably reserved for the GL, I suspect. Really nice condition, good to see the unexceptional Fords also celebrated, fabulous. Built to commemorate the victory of Francis Delacour in the '94 Monte Carlo Rally is this Escort Cosworth Monte Carlo. So mechanical changes are pretty slim, but it's got special trim inside. We're going to have a chat with the owner who's going to tell us a bit more about it. The one thing I do know, it's been modified from 227 horsepower to an almost unbelievable 500 horsepower. This is one hell of a car. So let's have a chat with the owner, Bruce, and see if you can tell us a bit more about it. Bruce, so tell us about this Monte. It's a rare car, isn't it?
It is indeed. 200 made. Last count, I think there's 35 left in the country. 75 right-hand drives. So, and I'm number 8.
Wow, number 8. And how long have you had the car?
25 years.
Oh wow, you've got a long history with it. What's the main difference between this and the standard car? I know it was built to celebrate Francis Delacour's '94 victory at Monte, but correct. Mechanical differences?
No
or?
difference, just the gear stick, the handbrake, and obviously the seats with the Motorsport cloth seats inside it, and the wheels. The
seats are lovely, actually.
Yeah.
What are the wheels?
They're like a OZ type of flat type wheel, which was 16s, but because it's modified, and it's got big AP brakes on it, I couldn't have them on. And then I've got a set of wheels sourced in 18s, which are the commemorative.
Ah, fantastic.
So, but it will have all the decor on it, like it looks like the original 16s.
And it's what, a high days and holidays car? You use it daily?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, I just had it MRT'd, and the guy at MRT said you've only done 400 miles since last year. I mean,
oh,
really?
wow.
So, yeah.
Well, you've got to use it. It's a beauty. It's a stunning colour in mallard. I mean, I think the other colour was ash black and
jewel violet is the one that you know it's a Monte Carlo, because they only made it in a Monte Carlo.
I've never actually seen one of those. Oh, fabulous! Have you come find it today?
From East London.
Okay, so you've had a bit of a trek up with it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Hopefully it's ULEZ compliant. No. Okay, we'll cut that one out in the edit, shall we? Yeah, that's the problem. Right, so it's a stunning car. Well, thank you for talking to us about it. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a huge amount to see today, like this Escort Mark III Cabriolet, packing an RS Turbo. By the look of it, not an official car. I think one modification that's entirely possible. And it's a left-hand drive car as well, so come quite a way to the show, I guess. Far more accessible than the Mark 1 RS Cosworth Focus. These ST170s tow 170 horsepower. Apparently many people regard these as actually much more usable, and certainly they're not particularly expensive, the ST170s. The one thing that you need to bear in mind is also you can have them as a 3-door and a 5-door. Now, whilst they might look better as a 3-door, they're certainly a lot more practical as a 5-door, possibly tipped for greatness in the future. Maybe. Are you struggling to hold up the bonnet of your Focus ST Mark II? Well, you could try colour coding your bonnet stay like this one. You could try using a big Lego man like this one, or if all else fails, you can use one of these. Good Lord. So if you want to see the level of preparation, let's have a look at this Escort Mexico. This is a stunning car. Got the strut brace, got the painted cover on the engine, but look at it underneath. It's just as clean underneath, isn't it? It's pretty clean under there. Got those stands on. The owner's taken the wheels off so we can have a good look. This signal orange car. Wow. Hats off to somebody who's taken that level of care on a vehicle. It looks amazing, doesn't it? So, have you ever seen one of these before? It's a Ford Fusion. It's a modified Ford Fusion. Ford Fusions are pretty rare now, pretty thin on the ground. You're not going to see too many of these. The owner's going to have a chat with me in a minute. He's done a huge amount of work pre and post lockdown. It's been his pet project, and you can tell the amount of time and effort he's spent on the vehicle. It's something else, isn't it? And it's quite a practical vehicle. I think he mentioned to me he'd even moved house in it, so that's fabulous, isn't it? Great to see people putting their own stamp on some vehicles, and honestly, there's not too many Fusions here today. So Sky, tell us about this Ford Fusion. I've never seen a customised Ford Fusion ever. What have you done to this one?
It's had light engine mods. It's pretty much standard 1.4.
Okay.
Just with uprated spark plugs, HC leads, air filter, which is custom fitted. I've had to custom make it myself. It's on coilovers, 17-inch EcoSport alloys. It's got straight through exhaust, homemade, custom made side skirts, Fiesta, big wing on the back,
right.
ST spoiler.
And what made you do it to a Fusion? Because you don't, is it because you just don't see anybody do this to a Fusion, or?
That's one reason. Two, I've owned the car for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
So it's the most reliable car I've ever owned.
Oh wow. Okay.
During lockdown, like with everybody, I decided I needed a hobby.
Yeah, and this was it.
One thing led to another, and now it's completely overtaken my life, and I'm changing it day after day,
oh,
week
fabulous.
after week.
What a great hobby to have. Thank you for telling us about it.
Not a
Thank you,
problem.
mate. Cheers. So back in 1990, Ford ran with a special edition of their Mark IV Escort called the Eclipse. So the Eclipse was available in either Flambeau Red, and I think the other colour was blue. It benefited from things like electric windows, tinted glass, tilt and slide sunroof. I do actually recall, to be honest, seeing these back in the day, but I don't recall seeing one for many, many years. And it's in stunning condition, that car, isn't it? Rescued from a scrapyard apparently and restored to this condition by the owner is this Mark V Escort facelift. So it's had a massive amount of work done to it by the look of it, from its initial collection. It is a special edition Mistral, and it's actually got the 90 brake horsepower 1600 Z-Tech engine in there, and it's in brilliant order now. They've done a huge amount of work to this car. There's a book in the car showing all the things they've done, and one of a few cabriolets I've actually seen here today. The only thing I can say to this Ford Focus is easy Tiger and Tiger Cub, father and son, fabulous. So there's not so many two-wheel drive Sierra Sapphire Cosworths around that are unmodified. This kind, this beautiful burgundy, appears to be. It's got those original cross-spoke wheels on it, lovely condition, black leather trim. Yeah, it's a beauty, isn't it? I do like the fact it looks almost totally untouched from showroom. So this Focus apparently even believes it's Batman. Well, maybe that's possible, who knows. These cars are highly modified, and many of these have got wraps or special liveries, but this one is something else. That's a treat, isn't it, for Batman fans anyway. So based on the Mark IV Escort is the booted version, the Orion. Eventually the Orion name will be dropped in favour of the Escort Saloon towards the back end of life, but this one is a rare survivor, isn't it? So here's a rather more standard Ford Fusion, a car really that wasn't rated that highly, and unfortunately has passed a lot of people by. Sold by Ford as appealing to urban loft dwellers, yeah, really, apparently. I hired one of these as a hire car and found it was both practical, usable, and pretty decent to drive. So quite honestly, maybe this is the next big thing in Ford ownership. I don't know, there's not many of these about. In fact, at this show, there's 2 of these, and there's probably 200 Focus Cosworths at least. So we got dropped Ford Fiestas, we got colour-coded ones, we've got more standard-looking STs, we've got a lovely grey one, and we've even got one with a very useful bonnet prop, a fire extinguisher. Yep, something to suit everybody here today, I think. So thanks again for joining me on Lot 76 Cars at the 2023 Ford Fair. Hope you've enjoyed the cars we've seen. Check out all the parts of the video in case you haven't already. Please like, share, subscribe, click on notifications to be made aware of when my next video is out, and look forward to you joining me on the next one. Thanks for watching.